Wow, just letting y'all speak. I mean, a lot of the questions I have written down, y'all already answered a lot of them, but I still have some things jotted down. And the people, again, family, there's a lot of people listening to the show right now, a lot of people on social media talking about this. Again, if you want to chime in, the number to call in is 319-527-6239. We do have Pastor Nobody standing by. I'm going to bring him in right after I let JC go, and I'm still I'll reach out to Quente. He says he's going to be listening to the show, and then when he has some free time, he's going to press number one and say a few words as well. Also, I'm still reaching out to Priest Danielle at this time, so bear with us. But let's go to JC. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. I wanted to revisit. I forgot a couple of things last time. When it comes to the name of Africa, I agree with the definition of what Brother Mighty Hebrew gave. During those times when Scipios took over northern Africa, it was Carthage, and the people of our far stayed there, like he said. But in history, only that northern region of Africa was considered Africa, not the whole continent. Okay? Secondly, Hebrews, Israelites in America, they seem to not know the difference between Africa and Hamitic. When you look at the Hebrew word for Ham, the English word, you get Kam, right? When you look at the Egyptian word, the ancient Egyptian word for Kam or Ham, you get Kemet. Those are Hamites, okay? Not the whole continent. The descendants of Ham were only given the northeast corner out of that big old continent. They were only given that one little piece of land in that area. All his sons, they all stayed within that same exact area. So I don't get where they get calling everybody in Africa Hamites. Nobody calls themselves that. So, okay, the brother brought up the Ashanti participating in the slave trade. I totally agree. But name me one Hebrew right now who don't have the book From Babylon to Timbuktu in their house. The brother Rudolph R. Windsor said that the Ashanti were Israelites. He quoted from a white man named John Williams who wrote Hebrewisms of West Africa, from the Nile to Nigeria. He wrote that book. It tells you in that book. He got pictures. He got artist renditions of what explorers saw the Ashanti wearing the priestly breastplate. That's in his book. Now, some brothers say, well, there were people within the Ashanti who were Israelites, and then the real Ashanti people sold them. There's nowhere in history saying that the Ashanti made a difference between them and the other people, besides the fact that they were captives of war. I'm pretty sure the people they took them, they didn't say, oh, these are Israelites, let's sell them. No, the Ashanti was selling the Igbo, the Iwe, and people within their vicinity. And guess what? All those people sold slaves too. When they captured Ashanti men, they sold slaves. So for you to say Africans sold us, what Africans? Guess what? The Africans who sold you into slavery were Israelites. So it's Israelites selling Israelites. The same thing we did back in ancient times. Who sold Joseph? There's so many other verses I can go where Israelites are selling each other for shoes and all type of stuff. Like, y'all need to really study slavery and what really went on. And guess what? The Africans who didn't get sold, the quote-unquote Africans, the Israelites who didn't get sold over here, they were enslaved over there. The people in Africa, they weren't the ones that were left behind, that we left, they didn't have no life scot-free. They still had plantations and everything there. They had to build slave castles, build a white man's plantation house and mansion and all that stuff. They still had slavery, bro. Y'all think they're over there chilling. They still were enslaved. Some of them still fighting for their independence right now, bro. Like, come on, man. Y'all got to do history, man. Y'all need to really study and stop. Y'all sound like big babies who got abandoned by their mamas, and now y'all hate everybody. Y'all don't want to belong to nobody. Like an adopted child who feel like their parents walked away from them. Bro, we ain't got to make up no charts. We ain't got to make up no charts. If you read the book you love the most, from Babylon to Timbuktu, Rudolph Windsor, who I know and spoke to before, and interviewed before, Rudolph Windsor in his book tells you where the 10 tribes went. Who was the tribe of Judah? Who was the tribe of that? And he wasn't just speaking and going from scripture. This man had history research, and most of y'all research is based off his works. And even in his book, he tells you that Leo Scipio Africanus is not where the name of Africa came from. And he said the exact same thing the brother Mighty Hebrew said. So I don't know where y'all mindset is warped, bro. Like we gotta really think about what we're doing, man. That's all I have to say.
All right, so let's go to the next person. Let's go to 702-413. You're live in the air.
So, this is Akwete. Can you hear me?
Hey, Akwete, what's going on, man? How you feeling, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
All right, I'm good. Kwete is actually one of the, for those that just joined in, one of the brothers we wanted the panel. So I'm gonna give you 6 minutes, brother. We have 6 minutes, to say your piece. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you very much. Greetings to everybody on the panel and anyone that is listening. I'm going to be short and to the point. I want my brothers in the Hebrews in America to be very careful when they dismiss us on the African continent. You can read about the history in books, but it's different when you hear the history from our point of view, what our ancestors have passed on to us since we left Israel. We know the route that we took. We know who we met on the way. We know where we got to and when we got there. Before there was a slave trade, we knew we were Hebrews. Before we left Israel to West Africa, what we call Evenigba, meaning Hebrew land, we knew we were Hebrews. The problem is we did not keep written history. So when we left, and we left the mothership behind, we all didn't get to West Africa at the same time. It took us a long time. Before we got there, we've forgotten who was our brothers. We've forgotten who were our neighbors. So you have a bunch of Hebrews living on the continent of West Africa and not know that that is my friend. Sorry, that is my brother. This is my cousin. We thought we were strangers. So during the slave trade, what my brothers in America don't know, that Hebrews sold fellow Hebrews into slavery. That is a fact. No one can deny it. All the tribes that was mentioned by the panelists, what you forget is the names Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Dahomey, they are just new. They came about in 1844. Let's go past that. Can anyone tell me the name of that territory before the Europeans divided the African continent in 1844? That whole place, all the tribes that you mentioned were under one title, Eves, which translates into English as Hebrews. Evenigba was the name of the place. And when Mohammed Bello, the Sultan, was selling people to slavery, the people of Dahomey, who were Hebrews, read the history of Dahomey, they sold their neighbors who were fellow Hebrews into slavery without knowing it, because we did not keep the history. You see, anyone who is black, who came through the slave ships, who wants to trace who they are, you have to go back to the African continent. That is a fact. You lost your culture. I'm sorry about that. You lost the Torah customs that we still keep for more than 3,600 years. I'm sorry about that. You lost the language. I can show you over 1 million people who speak the Paleo-Hebrew that Moses wrote the Torah with, easily, on the continent of Africa. The Anglo-Arabs, who are the Judahites. We have kept these traditions. There's no way we can be Hamites with this kind of detail. So when we sit to discuss, when someone stands on the roadside and say all Africans are Hamites, the moment you call me a Hamite, it means you're a Hamite too, because you came from me. You came from that mothership. You came from that coastal line. The moment we become Hamites, you become Hamites too, because you come back to us. You trace your roots back to Evenigba. Forget the Ghana, forget the Nigeria, forget the Togo, forget the Dahomey. Those are new names. Let's go back to the real history, and you have a shock of your life. The reason why the chiefs and kings in Ghana apologized and put that flag on the Elmina Castle, the Cape Coast Castle, is because they realized they sold their brothers who were Hebrews into slavery. So let's get our history correct. We can read things of Google, but let's go and sit with the elders and let them tell us the history, and we will change what we've been taught. Thank you, Sal.
All right, so I see Pastor Nobody call drop, Jaycee call drop. So we're going to get some words from Akwete, and after that we're going to get some last words from everybody else on the panel. But Akwete, you got 6 minutes.
Thank you again, Sal, and thank you again, my brothers on the panel. I'll just give my closing remarks, and then we'll call it a night. I am not saying, or we Hebrews in Africa are not saying that our brothers who are in America are not Hebrews. We're not saying that. What we are saying is that don't just look at the continent and tag everybody as a Hamite. That is not the case. We were born and we were told we were Hebrew. We were taught our history coming all the way from Israel. So we know this. We've kept these customs. We've kept the name of God, and we're still doing them, not as just an isolated thing, but the whole nation acknowledges even when it's time for the Passover. That's my tribe, the Gadangbe tribe. We still do these Passovers, the feast. We celebrate them. The reason I said let's remove the names Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, is because this was what the Europeans used to divide us, so that the Ghanaian will not think that the Nigerian is his brother. But when you remove those boundaries, you will notice that we call these 4 countries, these 4 countries that occupied this territory that used to be the slave coast, was called Hebrew land, made up of different tribes, different kingdoms. So the demarcations was just to divide us, and we know the slogan, divide and rule. That's the reason why I said let's remove those boundaries so that we can get a clear picture of who these people are. My brother made a statement that he made a video about me because I made a statement about using bogus scriptures. What he did not say was that I was responding to my brother standing on the street somewhere in New York, I believe, saying, damn the Ghanaians, damn the Ethiopians, damning his own brothers, and I was responding to that, wait a second, you cannot use the 12 tribes chart to damn everybody. No, you are not looking at the history. You are just removing us from the stage, and you cannot do that. I was responding to the person's video. I wasn't mocking, because the scriptures that they use to remove or to say this tribe is this is indeed bogus, because Genesis 49 has nothing to do with Jacob saying this is this person is this person, this person is this person. That is why I made that statement. I don't have any beef with, not at all. I'm just saying, let's study the history. And when we do that, we will see that, wait a second, they actually are brothers who were left behind on the continent. And we've been keeping the same customs that you might be keeping. We've been keeping Torah. So with that, I would want to apologize to anyone that I offended. My brother who said he made a video, but I've not seen the video. But I'm sorry if I offended you with my words. And I will leave it as that. I hope you would forgive me, because you are my brother. Thank you, Sal. Thank you, everybody.